Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Dover race review. My initial thoughts of the race is that it was a really good race. One of my favorite races of the season, actually, which is kind of surprising. I didn't have amazingly high expectations, just because what we've seen last few years, even in the Gen 6 era at Dover. I don't think the race product has been particularly that great, but today was definitely a different breed of what we've seen from Dover. It was definitely the best Dover race I've seen in a while, in my opinion, at least in the Cup Series. But yeah, I mean, there are still the issues of it was very hard to pass, and that's just going to be an issue with this car until things get sorted out. We have a long way to go on that, I believe. But it was a very interesting race, I think, in the sense of there definitely seemed to be comers and goers and stuff. I mean, not really necessarily at the front. It seemed like if you had the lead, you kind of stood there. Top five didn't really change too much, unless you got really, really long runs, which we did today. We got long runs. Um, but yeah, the race started off. It was pretty calm. You got the early caution because the tire wear was a big concern. Thankfully, it wasn't too big of an issue today. There were definitely some tire failures in the race, but it seemed more to be in handling race cars than that really abused the tires, other than just Tyler's just randomly failing. Besides, I think Kevin Harvick. I think Kevin Harvick, his tire was a little. That could have been a bad tire just because he had a really good car and didn't have any issues, and it was just weird at the end of stage two, which pretty much ruined his day. Um, Definitely didn't get the finish he deserved. Simple as that. But I think the big thing at the start, well, we had the comp caution, then Noah Gragson crashed right off the restart, and as a legacy fan, I guess, the Legacy Motor Club continues to build their legacy of pain generally. But thankfully for the other half, Eric Jones, they didn't bring a complete um, crap box today. At least they ran decent. Um, Happiest I've ever been for a top 20 in my life. Um, so hopefully Legacy can start turning it around. Dega, they showed signs of life, but I don't read too much into plate racing and how they run. But Eric today was pretty okay. Much better than he's been most of the season. So at least signs of progress there. And then after that, then you had the Suarez just lose it on the exit of four, and that ended his day. But the big thing was Kyle Busch ran into Ty Dillon's rear end, spun him around, and Ty Dillon took one heck of a shot in the rear end on the inside wall. So I hope he's okay. I mean, the big concern, right? My concern is instantly when I saw it, because it was a huge rear end collision, was concussion. So I mean, I guess we'll see later in the week of what's going to happen. Hopefully, he is okay and no concussion. If there's no concussion, that's a great sign. That the improvements they made to the rear end were very good. But we can only hope. But near the end of stage one, still probably like 35 laps before the stage end, is probably the most craziest thing of the race is Ross Chastain just straight up dumped Brendan Poole in a typical Ross Chastain maneuver. Just no remorse for human life, just dumped him. And then when Brendan Poole came back on track, wrecked him, wrecked Larson and ruined Larson's day. And we'll get back into. I mean, it's just another Ross Chastain. You got Chastain. I mean, simple as that. And like no one and Ross Chastain will get away with it because no one actually has the balls to actually retaliate in a manner that will prove a point. You literally have to just straight up dump him and end his race on the spot. But no one can do that because Denny Hamlin went on a podcast and said, "Oh, I got into Chastain, wrecked him, or whatever, never wrecked him, but got a points penalty for it, which is unprecedented. But here we are. Now, no one wants to do anything, and I mean, last year no one did anything against Chastain, which is ridiculous. I mean, drivers need to actually handle it on the track, unfortunately. to prove a point to Chastain because he's going to keep doing it because he gets no repercussions for his actions. And then, yeah, Byron then ended up Byron won stage 1. And actually, that caution ended Kyle Busch's day because he decided to stay out to try to get some track position. And then in like a 30 lap run, he went from first to losing a lap and not getting the lucky dog. And that ruined his day because we went green a lot of the race. Yeah, but we had stage 2 went completely caution free. Not much to really talk about, I don't think, other than this is probably when we started seeing those tire failures on the long runs. Logano definitely had tire issues throughout the day, could not go full fuel runs. His car was awful. Penske, besides Blaney, was awful. SHR, besides Harvick, was awful. RCR was pretty bad. So that's that. But yeah, stage 2 is when Chastain eventually got the lead and started leading a lot of laps. And Byron's car actually fell off later in the race. It was more stage 3. But yeah, stage 2, not much happened. But stage 3, Chastain got to an early lead. But Truex slowly, methodically worked his way through the field in stage 2 to get into a good position and ended up in second early in stage 3. Pounded him, tried to get past Chastain the entire time, but had to rely on the green flag pit stop to get the undercut, get ahead of him. And then I thought Truex was just going to drive away, but Ross Chastain did not let that happen, and they were having one heck of a battle for the lead. And then lap traffic it was a chess game, lap traffic, everything. And then later in the run, Truex got by Larson, and Larson just parked in front of Chastain, which was hilarious. Made him lose 2 seconds, but it was kind of all for naught because Truex had so much lap traffic in front of him. Chastain got right back, but that's when Logano had, I don't think it was a tire failure. I think his engine exploded because there was a lot of flames under the car. And the engine expiring caused him to spin. And then that set up what was going to be like an 8 lap dash, which turned out to be 7 in the end. Truex took 2, and then 2 others took 2, I think Blaney and Bell. I thought it was a little risky. I didn't think it was going to work out from what we've seen earlier in the race. But Chastain took 4. Restart, Blaney and Truex were side by side for an entire lap or so. But Truex on the outside eventually got the momentum off a turn and got the job done, got cleared to the lead. And then quickly after, Chastain got the second. I thought Truex was going to be in trouble, but he ended up just pulling away basically and holding on and finally ending his winless streak. Very entertaining racing. It was really entertaining racing without cautions, which was great to see. I wish there was no caution for the Logano thing, but you had to throw a caution for that. I just wish it didn't happen. So that is that. But yeah, I mean, it was a great race, honestly. Probably like 8 out of 10. Yeah, I think the best 3 races of the year so far have been Dover, Auto Club, and Richmond. 2 of those tracks I didn't really expect, but hey, here we are. I wish there was more tire fall off in the sense of like time fall off, but yeah, that's really it. I mean, it was still very hard to pass, and wish we could. I wish we could have the short track package here, right? Like the 2-inch spoiler, the diffuser thing gone. It would have been. I want to see how that would work at a track like this, just because it's so fast. But it was a good race, entertaining race, a pleasant surprise to be frank. So next week's Kansas. I look forward to Kansas. Kansas has been putting on good races for quite a few years now. And I think it'll be a good test to see where we truly are with this package, because that's how it doesn't seem as good at racing as last year. So next week will be a good indicator of where we're really at, because I think Kansas has been putting on some of the best racing in NASCAR lately. So I hope you enjoyed my thoughts on the race, and if you liked it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff helps me out. I appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.